What is up, YouTube? Uh, Today I'm making more of like a normal video, or at least trying to. This is the first time I'm doing a little commentary action, so we'll see how this works out. Um, didn't really have a plan when I was making this video. I sat down for like the first time in a while after of working on this track. It's kind of been taking the back burner recently. More life shit has been taking my priority, and the creative juices have not been flowing. So. It's taking a little back burner, but I got on, did a little work on this one tiny little part. I'm gonna try my best to kind of explain what's been going on in the background as this video goes on, and some just other topics that I'm gonna talk about related to Sim. But yeah. So in the background, you're probably asking yourself, what the fuck have I been doing? You making little circles in the ground. I'm actually trying to create just little detail on this road here. I think I go to like my rider here in a second to get like the side profile, but yeah. So just trying to create a little detail on the edge, make it look like natural dirt that's been kind of piled up. Maybe it was from when they're creating this little road, or it's supposed to be a train track that runs through here. Maybe when they're creating this, some dirt got pushed onto the side and created these little fucking mounds. This is basically my thought process when I create tracks for like everything. It's why, I don't know, it takes me so goddamn long. But something I wanted to talk about too is if something like this would be more like appreciated in the community. On YouTube there's not a lot of high level commentary that exists. So like high level commentary meaning like track making commentary, there's like really not a lot of that. So it's kind of hard to learn. Not everyone has a time or even like creative willpower to sit down and learn the things that I've learned. And so, yeah, it's kind of also my point for this video is just to show something, something to post, something for people to learn. And hopefully, when people see like the track making process, at this level, it's like, okay, this is somewhere I can be. Because I'm really not doing anything like super special. I've just learned a lot of techniques to make things look good with like the least amount of effort. So I think that's why I'm able to like produce the tracks that I produce at the level they are, just because I've learned so many unique things. But I guess to talk about more what's going on in the background. Finish up the ridges with the linear gradient tool, and then I went over with the raise tool on the back of it to kind of make everything a little bit more level and evened out. And now I'm using the smooth tool with the sub mode modifier set to raise only. You can kind of see it smooth everything below like peaks, and so it won't flatten anything, it'll only raise the ground, it won't lower it. So that's how you get this kind of like natural sort of smooth transition look on these little ridges. Yeah, not sure how many people use that. I know a lot of people use it for like ruts and stuff. But this is definitely a goated tool. Definitely a goated tool. So now here I'm just trying to figure out what the fuck I want to do texture wise, and if this is something that I even think looks good at this point. So I'm looking around, looking at other stuff I've done, and I'm like, oh, I made this little, I don't even know, like cutaway in the side of the road. And I'm looking at that, looking at all the textures. Yeah, live decision making going on right now. So I'm just placing this decal over. Seems it even looks good. You can see with like bigger decals like this, or even just decals in general, the shading is like not enough. The shading on the terrain is just not enough to like give a good detail of what's actually underneath the decal. And so right here, I was gonna cut this video out, but like I wanted to leave it pretty raw and just go through like my thought process on how I create these tracks. But anyway, my point is I'm trying to create more shading here, using these little like dark, I don't even know, dark circles. But as you can see, they're shiny, and so this is where I'm like fuck, bro, like I don't want shiny ass dirt right here. That's not gonna look good. So yeah. So now we're going to the desktop, trying to look for a new decal, or either replace or copy the dark decal I have and just get rid of the specular. So I have two different versions of it. But I remember I have a different decal that I use in one of my other tracks, and so that's what I'm looking for right now. Trying to search for. This is what the part I was going to edit out, but I'm like, you know, a lot of people don't know the process. Like, there's a track making process, and then there's also, like, for me, like the file process. Like, this is a very big aspect of Sim. You know, choosing what textures you want. You know, working in like the folder. So yeah, I've gotten pretty good at just flying through here. Open up Photoshop here to lower the opacity, because I know just from like previous use that the image, the texture is fairly dark, and I don't want something super dark. I just want to give it a little bit of opacity, even though like right here you can't even see the decal. It makes a difference. Little things make a difference. Also, like, I'd be down to make more of these. Maybe it'll make me feel motivated to create videos like this to help you guys learn shit and also create the track. Maybe like those will work hand in hand and give me some more motivation, because I've just been, you know, struggling with that recently. But yeah, no, leave some comments of anything you'd like to see. Like, I feel like track making is pretty dead in Sim right now. Like, there's just not a lot of passion, which like I don't blame people for. There needs to be some sort of lighting update. There just has to be, and people need to not be lazy, low key. Like, it takes effort, but it looks badass. So like, I don't know. Stop scrolling TikTok, bro. Start making tracks. I don't know. It's really not that deep, but. So now we're seeing like the purpose of this decal is to get shading on like the lower sides, or the sides that aren't facing the sun, just to add a little bit more depth. Because as you saw when we put that large decal on there, just you couldn't really tell. So yeah, just trying to get more depth. Quite literally doing like hand painting ambient occlusion right now. JLV, please, bruh. Please, I need something. Like, I need a damn lighting update, bro. I can't be doing this much longer. so now I'm adding um, more lighting, I guess you could say, lack of a better word, like just light colored decals to like the front side, the sides that are facing the sun, and yeah, just same thing, give them more depth. Um, I've never really seen anyone do this on any track using like decals. I know the darker decals I've seen. Um, Specifically, I think on like old Supercross tracks, like 2017, I think is where that decal's from. Maybe before that, I mean 16, but yeah, I've never really seen that done before. And I pretty much do this around like the whole track too, like on track. You know, I'm always using these lighter and darker decals to make just add more depth because Sim's a very flat game. You know, there's no, like I said, there's no ambient occlusion, so if something's lower down in the terrain compared to like all the terrain around it, it's not going to appear darker. So yeah, you know, sim track making to me, especially decal, is very much like painting. Um, you know, basically painting all of the detail in on top of the terrain to make the terrain stand out more. I think that's kind of what sets this track apart from any other track, honestly, in the game. I think this is maybe one of the best looking tracks in the game. You know, not to toot my own horn, but like every decal has been thought of and is used in a way to create a you know, more cohesive scene for the space that it's in. So now I'm just trying to figure out what decal I want to put in the bottom. Um, this is actually what I've been using for on track, but I like the way the like rocks look. So yeah, that's like the reasoning for that one. And it kind of blends in with a lot of the other stuff I've been using for the top portion of this. This out on a little ridge, I guess you could say, road. So this is obviously like one of the hardest things of track making for me is like decaling it's just so tedious. It's also like a perfectionist problem too. Like I want everything to look as good as it can or as perfect as it can, and sometimes I just go a little bit overboard. Because not everything is going to be perfect, and it's also just takes way too much time to do detail like this all over the entire track. It's why it's taken me so long to do this, but I don't know, still choose to do it. Um, you know, at some point I want to go back to creating like easier and fun tracks, but I think at the same time, like those times are kind of over. Like I don't, there's no reason the level of track making in Sim can't parallel bikes. I think that this track specifically looks better than any bike track. I think sim tracks can look better than the mainstream tracks that are being made now. Um, I don't want to throw, not trying to throw shade anywhere, but I think RF tracks can look better than how they look now. But I also get how time consuming that would be. It's not really feasible to make tracks look like this, obviously, but I think there's, I was playing like the RF outdoor tracks from 25, and there's just like not a single like rut decal on the track, and I'm like, there's some good rut decals out there with that we can at least just like throw on, but I digress. That's not really like the point of this, but yeah, still trying to do decals here, and you'll see I'm kind of working from like the bottom up. You kind of have when you're creating detail at the level I am, you kind of have to work from the bottom. Um, it's hard to work from like the top down or like try to use overlapping decals just because the space you're using for the decals is so limited. So like if you keep trying to like place decals on top of each other, it's gonna look super messy. So right here, I'm kind of looking at this, and I'm like, I'm not happy. It doesn't have enough detail. And so another little cool tool I figured out how to learn when making this track that I didn't think anyone used or even knew how to use. Like I don't think I've ever seen this smudge tool being used by any track maker, but I figured out how to use it. Of course. You have to have the strength at negative 0.75. For some reason, this is like the only way the tool is like usable. If you go to zero point 0.1, it doesn't do anything, and if you go to like 0.5, it does too much. And so when you use when you use it at this strength for whatever reason, it becomes usable. And so um, I mainly use it to make like rain ruts and kind of just like erosion. If you paint like up toward the top of like whatever your terrain is, it'll create indents. And if you start at the top and drag it down, then it'll like smudge it down, like outward almost, and so it creates like a little ridge. Um, so yeah, super useful tool. If you notice, um, if I zoom out here, not sure if I do, but as I've been creating this track, you can see almost every jump kind of has like this erosion on the side, um, just to make it as realistic as possible, pretty much. And so now I'm just trying to figure out decals and seeing if I can go deeper on these ruts or leave them how they are. So now we're doing manual rain ruts. Yeah, I'm a psycho. um, so like this is the shit that like I need to, I don't want to say cut out, because when I tab back out, like it looks a lot better, but at the same time it's like um, I this is the shit that takes me like 10 minutes. It shouldn't take 10 minutes, but it's like got a little ridge with some rain ruts on it. Something you would just see like out on the side of the track. I don't know. Um, and so it's like this double-edged sword. It looks super cool, but like no one's gonna really notice it. So, but I don't know. I like to think I create these tracks for me and not other people. So. Also, like, I don't know, like, viewing this as like a normal human being, like, it might look sped up, because like I'm watching this back, and this looks sped up, but it's not, which is crazy. So yeah, last bit of this, just trying to get the details worked in, trying to get the grass spaced out so it looks natural, looks like it's growing correctly. Um, this is the type of shit I think about when I make these tracks. Why they take me so fucking long. Um, I keep saying for like the next track I'm gonna release, I'm gonna go back to my roots and create something that's like more fun, but at the same time, it's like I want to create tracks that are challenging me, but it's just like the tracks that challenge me take forever. Because I get halfway through the project of decaling, you know, probably gonna take me 500 hours to do like this whole terrain, if that, probably 1,000. Um, so, so yeah, it's challenges like that that I enjoy, but I just don't enjoy how long they take. Anyway, we'll see how long it takes for me to get this one out. Don't think there's too much left in this video, so hope you all enjoyed. Hope you all learned something. That's my main goal in this. That's why I created it. Hope you had fun. I don't know. Hope to maybe make one of these again. I don't know. I think it'd be interesting to do something when I'm creating like a part of the track, because even though there's a couple different like things that I showed you, like the smudge tool and like smooth modifiers and shit like that, you know, making a track is completely different. So yeah, hope you all enjoyed.